Ever solved a problem, that little niggle in your day and just thought, phew, glad that's over.
Oh, absolutely. Happens all the time.
But what if those everyday fixes, those moments you barely even registered, were actually, well, gold dust?
That's a powerful way to put it. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Uh,
How much we just overlook our own resourcefulness, the stuff we figure out just by living.
exactly. And that's what we're diving deep into today. We've got some fascinating sources here, and they all seem to point to this one core idea: your everyday problem-solving skills. They're surprisingly valuable.
Yeah, those aha moments we tend to dismiss. The material we looked at really hammers home this perspective shift, seeing the hidden potential there.
Right. So to make this really concrete, there's this interesting idea from the sources called the $10 problem game.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Okay, so grab your phone right now if you can. Open up your notes app. Think back over, say, the last 30 days. What little snags did you hit and somehow manage to solve?
Big or small.
Doesn't matter. Anything. Maybe you, I don't know, wrestled a refund out of an airline, or talked your way into an interview you weren't quite qualified for, designed a logo in Canva,
Yeah, I know.
negotiated something.
Okay, yeah. Getting an Airbnb refund, definitely done that. Maybe helping a friend fix their Wi-Fi, little things like that.
Perfect examples.
Yeah.
Jot them down. Now here's the kicker. Look at that list. Which of those problems do you think someone else might happily pay you, say, even just $10 to solve for them?
Ah, okay. So you're thinking about the frustration they'd avoid or the time they'd save.
Precisely. The result you got for yourself, could you get that for someone else? For a small fee.
You know, it's interesting. The simple exercise, it starts to chip away at those mental blocks, right? That feeling of, oh, I'm not an expert or my knowledge isn't really valuable.
That is exactly the point.
Yeah.
It's about seeing that even what feels like basic knowledge to you can have real tangible worth to someone else. And look, this isn't just about 10 bucks here and there.
No, these sources suggest these small solutions can kind of snowball.
Snowball and avalanche, that's the phrase I used. These little things can grow into something much, much bigger, like a tiny seed.
Hmm. And this ties into that Swiss cheese method idea you mentioned earlier, right? Focusing on just one whole.
Yes, exactly. It's the underlying philosophy. Don't try to, solve world hunger. Just find one specific hole,
Hmm.
one problem you can solve, one pain you can eliminate, one result you can deliver. Simply.
Okay, so let's dig into that. How do you actually structure that? The sources mention something called the four-block method.
They did. It's a way to take these simple solutions and structure them, potentially as digital products.
Right, giving it a framework. So what's the first block?
Block one, the pain point. And crucially, this isn't some vague, abstract problem. It's the specific moment, the trigger that made your solution necessary.
Okay, give me an example.
The sources use a great one: missing a really important client call because your Google Calendar notifications just weren't working.
Yeah.
That specific failure cost you income, maybe damage your reputation. That's the pain point.
Ah, so not just calendar problems, but miss the call because notifications failed. Got it. The specific moment.
Exactly. You got to ask,
Yeah.
what specific moment made this necessary? And what's the real pain here?
That specificity feels key and makes it relatable.
Then, block two.
Yeah.
The quick win. This is the very first thing you did that actually started to work, that reversed the pain, even just a little.
So not the whole fix, just the first glimmer of hope.
Right. In the calendar example, maybe it was finally finding that one hidden, notification permission toggle buried deep in your phone settings. That first thing that made a difference.
Okay, the initial relief. Makes sense. Block three.
Block three is the full solution. So how did you go from that quick win to completely sorting the problem out?
All right, the whole process.
For the calendar thing, this might involve cleaning up duplicate accounts, getting rid of old, conflicting calendars, maybe setting up a proper system for different appointment types, the A to Z fix.
Laying it all out, step by step.
Yep. And finally, block four, the prevention plan. How do you make sure this headache doesn't come back?
Keeping it solved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the calendar, maybe it's a super simple, 60-second check-in every Sunday morning. Just glance at the week ahead, make sure things look right.
A routine to maintain the solution.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about this whole four-block thing is it really focuses on the result, not just dumping a load of information on someone.
That's the core insight. People don't buy content. They buy result transformations. They want the pain gone.
Which brings us back to the power of simplicity, that Swiss cheese idea again.
It really does. The sources strongly suggest that the most successful digital products often aren't these huge encyclopedic things. They're laser focused.
Like instead of everything about iPhones, it's
It's master your iPhone camera for killer social media pics.
yeah,
Or instead of learn to cook everything, it's
one simple meal prep system for busy parents.
exactly. Or the 5-minute fix for freelancer inbox overload.
Yeah.
One problem, one audience, one solution.
Find one hole, fill that hole. And the beauty is, if you guess wrong about the problem.
Well, because it's simple, it's not a disaster. You didn't spend 6 months building a massive course. You just pivot, tweak it, try again. Much lower risk.
That agility seems really important. Okay, so the sources also talk about the timing being right for this. Digital products 2.0, they called it.
Yeah, they argue now is this like unprecedented opportunity.
Yeah.
And a key part of that is finding your bad poker table.
Bad poker table. Okay, explain that one.
Yeah. It's an analogy.
Yeah.
Think of a poker game where, frankly, the other players aren't very good. You don't have to be a world champion to win, right?
You just need to be slightly better than average, or maybe even just consistently competent.
Exactly. So a bad poker table, in this context, is a market or a niche where the competition is weak, maybe non-existent, but the demand is there. People want the solution you have.
So you can win even if you feel like you still suck a bit, as the sources put it.
Right. The question becomes less, how can I be the best in the world? And more, where can I win right now with what I have? Find those underserved spots.
That reframes things quite a lot. It's about strategic positioning, finding a place to get traction.
And then layered on top of this opportunity is the big one, AI, artificial intelligence. The sources basically call it your potential nuclear weapon.
Whoa, strong words, but they see it as a massive accelerant.
Totally transformative, apparently, making the whole process of creating these digital products way easier and faster.
How specifically?
Well, AI can help you extract those solutions we talked about, structure them using that 4-block method, even help write the content. They mentioned specific tools like Synthesize AI.
Right, trained on sales data, wasn't it, to help create products even if you're not like a PhD in the topic?
Exactly. It democratizes it.
Yeah.
You have the practical solution. AI helps you package it effectively. And it's not just creation. Other tools like Ghostwriter OS apparently help set up the distribution side, the selling part, with just a few clicks.
So it streamlines the whole pipeline, creation and delivery.
That's the idea. And the point they stress is that using AI now gives you this huge, maybe temporary advantage over people still doing everything manually.
A window of opportunity, basically. Get in while the getting's good. Leverage the tech.
Makes sense. But okay, tech is one thing. The sources also spend a lot of time on mindset, overcoming those...
These visible scripts, the self-doubt, the mental blocks.
Yeah, that feeling of, who am I to do this? Or what if people laugh? Or it's too hard.
Very common barriers. So what's the shift they recommend?
It's actually quite simple, almost deceptively so. Just ask yourself, what if this could be easy? What if this could be easy? How does that help?
Well, it challenges the automatic assumption that building something valuable has to be this massive, painful struggle. Maybe, just maybe, some of that struggle is self-imposed. Maybe there's a simpler path.
That's powerful. It opens you up to different possibilities, simpler methods, like the Swiss cheese thing again. Right. And they also say, look, results make excuses irrelevant. Once you get that first win, that first person saying thank you, that helped, a lot of the self-doubt just evaporates.
And focusing on the transformation for the other person, not your own fears, that helps too, right?
Absolutely. Shifting focus outward. Okay, so pulling it all together, the sources see this moment as this unique convergence of 3 big wealth-building strategies.
Okay, lay them out for me.
First, Warren Buffett's idea of the perfect business model. Low entry barriers, super high profit margins. That's digital products, right? Almost pure profit once created.
Yep. Low overhead, high margin, checks out. What's second?
Second, Jeff Bezos's marketplace effect. Building a platform where others sell, creating network effects. They mentioned a platform called WHOP.
World product, I think. The idea being that getting onto such platforms early gives you an advantage as they grow.
That seems to be the angle. And third
is Elon Musk's playbook, leveraging disruptive technology, which in this case is AI, right? Using it to fundamentally change how products are created and sold.
Exactly. So perfect business model, marketplace effects, and disruptive tech all coming together.
That's quite a potent combination.
It sounds like it. And they wrap this up with these 5 pillars of success, things that separate the winners.
Okay, what are they? Quickly.
Your why, your motivation. Specialized knowledge, which AI can help you source or structure. Focus, avoiding distractions. Being decisive, taking action. And community having support.
And the point is, most people are missing a couple of those.
At least two, they reckon. Worth thinking about which ones might apply to you.
Definitely. And this all ties into the story of Jason Flavin, was it?
Flavin, yeah. Incredible story. Humble beginnings, apparently started with a $4 product, built it up to like $250 million in the digital space.
Wow. Okay, so he embodies these principles.
Very much so, according to the sources. Big on destroying those demons, the mental blocks. He argues the market's never saturated if you're actually solving real problems.
Makes sense. No one gets tired of having their problems solved.
Right. And he's huge on simplicity. Perfection is the enemy of done. Find those bad poker tables. Focus relentlessly on customer results.
His story really brings it home, doesn't it? It makes it feel achievable.
It does. So, look, the big takeaway here is you probably, almost certainly, have valuable problem-solving skills you're just overlooking.
Things you do every day without thinking.
So we really encourage you, try that $10 problem game later today, seriously. Open your notes, think back, list the problems, see which ones someone might pay for. You might genuinely surprise yourself.
It's such a simple, low-stakes way to start seeing your own value differently.
And just consider this. Maybe building wealth, or at least creating something valuable, by focusing on these simple solutions. Maybe it's a lot more straightforward than you think.
Especially now with the tools and the timing lining up, as the sources suggest.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. What specific hole, what little problem could you potentially fill right now with the knowledge you already have sitting in your head?
What's one small step you could take?
And what could that tiny step actually lead to down the road? Are you ready to start seeing your everyday fixes not just as chores, but as, well, potential opportunities for real value and impact? Something to think about.